Welcome back to my channel. You join me here in 2024. It's early April and I'm at a local venue called Tees Valley Lakes, and I'm on a relatively new lake called Woodbury. It's the first time I've been here for 3 or 4 years, so I'm quite surprised at how much the place has changed. It's looking absolutely fantastic. But yeah, I'll just give you a quick glance at this little small lake exclusive. So this little lake is around 1 acre in size. There's only the one swim on it, so you have the full use of the lake. I can't remember off the top of my head how many fish are in it. Maybe about 20. But yeah, it's a lovely little pond this. So I've just arrived, I've had a little walk around, and I've not really seen much other than a few bubbles appearing in what appears to be mid water, like you know, roughly the centre of the lake. So I think the plan is, it's not raining, so I'm going to get my rods ready. I think I'm just going to prime some solid bags and get them out, and we'll then set up camp, and then we'll look into what happens after then. But first things first, I'm raring to go. Let's get these rods set up, get them in the water, and let's try and get a fish. First fish of 2024, come on. Yes, it's not April Fools. We're past all that game. I have a bait boat. We're going to come on to that later in the video, but first of all, let's get this rod out. A little bit of a change of tactic with my third rod, which is the centre rod. That's on a solid bag, and I've got about 20 boilies. I'm going to go with that. So 2 rods are just on bags. Third rod, sorry. Got a little bit of bait around it, which is my centre rod, and we'll see how we get on. So I'm using bug boilies. These are the frozen, so I've had them defrost in the last 48 hours, and I'm using a bug pop-up. So let's see how we get on it. So that's us all set up now. I do apologise, there is a lot of background noise. We've got helicopters, aeroplanes, cars, you name it. It's a little bit busy at this time of day, but it will get a lot quieter as the night goes on. But we do have an airfield nearby, and I think it's a field ambulance or something, the helicopter that's nearby, or it's police, who knows, but it keeps flying around anyway. So this might take a few goes, but you join me at Tees Valley Lakes, which is not far from home for myself. I live in Stockton, and this is where it's somewhere in between Yarm and Eagles Cliff, I believe. So it's about a 15-minute drive for me, so it's ideal. This place is somewhere where I did fish quite a bit about 4 years ago. It was really when I started getting into carp fishing. For those who know me, I spent quite a bit of time when I was a kid, more sort of the commercial match fishing side. Didn't really get into actual carp fishing until about 2019. So if I'm to be honest, it's actually Tees Valley where I learned how to carp fish properly, using all the specimen gear. So I've got really good memories from here. Like I say, it's been summer 2020 I think I was last here, and we are April 2024 now. And yeah, when I joined here around 5 years ago, there was only the 2 lakes, which was Eagle and Alpha, and back then you could fish either one when you first joined, but I always preferred Eagle myself. It's got a higher stock ratio, so you got more chance of catching a fish, and there's still some really good quality fish in there. So even to this day I do prefer Eagle out of the 2 lakes, but Alpha is where the bigger residents reside. I don't think there's anything under 18 pound in there. There's loads of 20s and there's quite a lot of 30s in there. So if it's a big fish you want in, then Alpha is the lake for you. But like I say, Eagle is the lake, which is sort of not far behind me. I'm actually booked on there next week, so that's going to be a different video. And I wanted to go on there just for old time's sake and see how we get on. But yeah, Eagle Lake for me during the year of COVID 2020 was a really good lake for me, and it was really where I learned how to properly carp fish. I learned how to use solid bags on there. I learned how to feel the cast down, learned how to wrap up rods, you know, fish 10 rods, 10 wraps to the far margin and all that business. It was on there at that time, so yeah, it's good to be back. So today I'm actually on a lake, never been on here before. I think the lake is only about a year old. It was once a stock pond, I think, and it's the smallest lake on the complex. So this is called Woodbury, and it's about 1 acre in size, and it's really designed for an angler like myself who normally fishes solo, and it's just great to have a little lake to yourself. So yeah, first impressions really good. I know I'm going to enjoy the rest of this session. I am booked on a 48-hour, and it is the first time I've been fishing since August last year. Wow, crazy. I'm not going to go into great detail on what I've been doing, but for those who know me, they know I like to travel around the world quite a lot. So I've been doing quite a bit of travelling, loads of holidays, and just really enjoying life. And yeah, not much more to say on that. New things, what I've got with me, re-spooled my lines yesterday with the Thinking Anglers OGX or something like that. I'll put the picture on the screen now. 15-pound line, 0.35 diameter. So far, really like the look of it, like the feel of it. Good knot strength, and it sank really easily. So far, big thumbs up on that line. And before then, I was using Fox Exocet, and I was quite happy with that. But I'd had it on for 2 years, and I thought I need to put some fresh line on just for peace of mind, because even the sunlight can damage line over time. So yeah, I thought it was time to re-spool the reels, and yeah, I thought I'd give something different a go. The one thing that was different was previously I had 23-pound Fox Exocet, and I was quite happy with that, but I do think that it was maybe a bit overkill, and I do think I was maybe spooking the odd carp. They could maybe see it. So I did want to drop in the line diameter, so 0.35, which is abiding by 99% of fishery rules in the UK, and it's also strong enough to take abroad, which I am planning in September. I'm going over to France. So that's that with the line front. I've got a Sonic rucksack, which is now going to be for my electronic equipment, and it's absolutely perfect. It fits everything in great, including my new bait boat. So I just want to touch on that very quickly because I can go on a tangent, but basically I'm going to own up to being a hypocrite. On a previous video I have said that I don't like bait boats. I don't see the point in them unless you're going to fish a huge lake where you can't cast. But yeah, I'm going to eat my words, swallow my pride. I'm now a bait boat owner, and the reasons for that is, in all honesty, I don't think the word's jealousy, but maybe envious. I've always been a little bit envious of seeing people using bait boats, and I've been swearing under my breath, and you know, I've thought of all that, and I've had that mentality for a good couple of years. But what's that famous saying? Something like, if you can't beat them, join them. So I've kind of joined them. I know, it's pathetic, but honestly I'm absolutely over the moon with it. And the reasons for me really getting this bait boat was I was planning on fishing the approach fisheries quite a bit this year, which is near Leeds, and that's a big 30-acre gravel pit, and I can't cast to the middle of that lake or even anywhere near the middle of that lake, and bait boats are allowed on there. So I really bought it for that venue. But however, I'm not on there today. So then you might be wondering, or you might be keyboard worrying, in the comments, why would I want to use a boat on a little 1 acre lake? Well, truth is, I wanted to be on my own today, to be able to test it out. If I make any mistakes, there's no one going to watch me, and it's an ideal place just to get to grips with a new toy, if you like. And also, in all honesty, these smaller lakes or ponds, whatever you want to call them, they're actually really tricky often. And if I came here with my normal tactics of casting out a marker lead and markering and finding out what features are out there, in all honesty, I'd just end up spooking the fish and I'd probably not end up catching anything. So the idea of having this is going to be a stealthy approach, hopefully put a fish on the bank, and I've set up by just using the bait boat, taking 3 solid bags out, but I am going to shortly attach my deeper to the back of the boat and stealthily drive that around the little pond and see what's out there, as in depths and any features. But the rods are out there at the moment, which is good. The sun is out, so for the early April we can't ask for much more. So I'm going to stop waffling and I'm going to get the deeper out on the boat and see what's out there. This is my new rucksack, what I mentioned earlier. So it's a Sonic, and I think I paid about £40 for it from Angling Direct. But the bait boat fits perfectly in there. So in the other compartments on the sides, I have my camera and my camera equipment on the left hand side, just in that long compartment there. And on the right I've got a power bank, just in this one here. And in there I keep things like my deeper and like phone charging cables, things like that. So yeah, great. Really happy with this one. Well, it's about 5 o'clock, so these rods have been in the water for a good 5 hours. Other than one bleep, which was possibly a liner, it's been pretty quiet. So, like I mentioned before, these intimate waters, they can be quite tricky, and I really want to keep disturbance to a minimum. So I'm not planning on bringing any of these rods in tonight unless I catch a fish. If I catch a fish, then I'll probably bring the other 2 rods in, as there'd have been obviously quite a bit of disturbance in the water. But yeah, unless I catch a fish tonight, these are going to stay out until tomorrow. I'll give you a quick update. I've just had Steve Alford, the lake owner, come round and pay a visit. And I mentioned to him about me getting liners. I asked him if the fish can come close in, and that can be the case at times, and he showed me a video where the fish literally just jumped out at the end of his rod tips there. So I'm not going to ignore these liners, so I'm going to put one of my rods close in, and then he said don't ignore that far margin, so there's like an aerator in that corner, just straight in that corner there. So I'm going to have the other 2 rods against that back margin along there somewhere. I'm just going to fish single hook baits, no bait around them, try and get a nick a bite in the next 24 hours. So this is what I've changed, or going to change all my rods over to. This is the first one. So removed the solid bag setup, and we've now got the lead clip system. And then going down, I've stopped using anti-tangle sleeves. I just tend to use a bit of silicone tubing, and that keeps the rig safely on the lead clip. Going down, I've got this coated braid with some putty's there. Then this is crimped to a size 4 barbless hook with a Baitworks Scent from Hell pop-up. It's very visual and very potent, and this is going to be my close-in rod, so I'm Gonna just plonk that out just not far in front of where my rods are, and then I'll get the other 2 rods in and get them changed over and get them out over at the far margin. The other 2 rods I'm going to use Baitworks Pineapple pop-ups, so they're more of an orangey colour, very potent. So yeah, we're going to be using 3 single hook baits, no free offerings going in, just to try and nick a bite. But the good news is, when I seen Steve Alpha Diona, 33 mirror came out of Alpha last night, which is a good sign. And the lake just next to me, Hilltop, the guy had 2 fish out of there, so it's really good news. I'm not showing you coverage of the other lakes because I think it's important to keep privacy for the other members, and I'll just film other lakes when I fish them myself. But yeah, let's get these out and see if we can get something today. But the sun's out, which is good. I think we are due another wet night, possibly a wet morning packing up, but it is what it is. The sun's out at the moment. So a very quick update of just what my version of the fluorocarbon D-rig is. And I started making these last year purely because, for one, they do work and catch fish, and 2, it's probably the quickest and easiest rig to make. So the fluorocarbon line firstly is from Bank Tackle in £20, so I've cut off about 10 inches of that, and I just do the overhand loop at one end, and that's going to be attached to the lead clip. I just need a bit of my tubing to go over there, and that'll secure that on the lead clip. And then down here I've got a size 4 barbless hook. This is a Continental hook from Bank Tackle. Same again, nice and sharp, out the packet. And you just do that by using the, what do they call that knot? The whipping knot, is it? Where you just put in the, whipping it around the shank. So I do about 6 of them, and then put a micro ring swivel on there, and then just feed the line back through the hook, and that forms the D. So this is ideal if you're using wafters, and the good thing about using fluorocarbon is that it sinks, so you don't really have to worry about putting any putty on. But I'm going to test it in the water bucket just to make sure, once I attach the wafter, that it is all sat nicely on the bottom. So the idea of this rig is that the hook will sit flat on the lake bottom like that, and your wafter will just sit on top, just wafting above it, and they do catch carp. I'd say the most famous angler who uses this rig for 99% of his fishing is Tom Maker, and he does very well. Okay, so it's been about half an hour since I've had all 3 rods out now, fishing single hook baits in different areas to before. So my right hand rod is alongside this margin here. It's probably about only about 12 foot in front of me, so pretty close in. This middle rod was, and I say was, over at the far margin, more or less just in line with that post in the centre of the screen. I was about 2 feet off the bank, and then my left hand rod, that was a bit to the left of that, around there towards that far margin. And then I was just sat there contemplating life, and the middle rod ripped off, or so I thought. Picked up the rod and there was nothing there, so that tells me it was another liner. So these fish must be quite close in to where I am now. So I've now moved that middle rod, and I'm now probably about 10 foot out in front of me, just in a bit of open water around there, because I think that's where I'm picking up these liners from, that area. If anyone who's not sure what a liner is, if you can imagine your line leaving your rod tips, for the next say 10 foot that line is just slowly descending into water on a tight line at an angle, and if a carp doesn't see that line it swims into it, and then you get an indication. So that is a telltale sign that there's carp not far out from where your rod tips are. So yeah, I've now got 2 rods close in, so I'm starting to suss them out a little bit. So let's hope that they come across these smelly pop-ups and are quite inquisitive and they want to investigate. So yeah, we're getting there. So left hand rod is now over that far margin. These 2 rods are pretty close into where I'm picking up liners, so fingers crossed we can get into something. It's only about 10:30 on the morning now, so we've got about, I don't know, 22 hours or something to go. I'm going to be off this lake by about 9 o'clock. You can stay on till 10, but I need to make tracks. I need to get showered and cleaned up, ready to go out on the afternoon. So yeah, weather's looking quite good, overcast, nice wind. So yeah, I'm quite optimistic. I think by the end of this session we'll get one out, getting closer. That's 4 liners throughout the session. So I'm starting to suss it out a little bit. Yeah, fingers crossed. So I thought I'd make the most of this dry weather and speak into the camera for a little bit, because rain's never far away when the skies are looking as dark as they are. I'll tell you a little more about Tees Valley. There is now, well, 5 or 6 lakes on the complex. I'll show you an overview now on the screen of what's on the Tees Valley website. And yeah, basically it's a day ticket complex. Yeah, pay for a lifetime membership, which is now £75, and then you just pay on the day for however long you're going to be staying for. So for the majority of the lakes it's currently £30 for 24 hours, which is pretty much what the going rate is throughout the country. You can use 3 rods, and you just have to check the website for whether or not they're taking on members, because he does control it and close membership from time to time, so he can control the numbers, because he doesn't want the lakes to be too busy. So that's very well run. And Steve is a carp angler himself, so very experienced. He's fished all over the country and took part in all these competitions and that. He's a very good angler. So obviously he runs a very well successful complex. Once you initially join, I think you're limited to what lakes you're allowed to fish on. So Alpha is definitely off the cards until they get to know you a little bit more, to make sure that you can hold fish safely, because it's all about fish safety at the end of the day. So yeah, they just like to make sure you can have a fair few sessions on other lakes first, maybe catching smaller fish. And yeah, I joined it in around 2019. I may have fished it in 2019, I can't remember that far back, but I know I fished it quite regularly during COVID. And yeah, I've got good memories of that time, and obviously during such a difficult time in life, you know, I have a lot to thank this place for. So I'll put a few pictures up on the screen now, a fish that I did catch back then on Eagle Lake. And Eagle Lake was just a great lake, just to get a bend in the rod. It's got a higher stock ratio from the other lakes, but there's still some really good sized fish in there. There's quite a few 20s in there now. I don't know off the top of my head if there's any 30s, but yeah, I know for a fact there's quite a lot of 20s in there. Loads of upper doubles. It's a great lake, and yeah, I'm on there next week, so I'm really looking forward to getting back on there. And you can use various tactics on there, whether you want to use just any type of rig, solid bag. It's a pretty clean bottom. You've just got different depths, so different features, gullies, plateaus, things like that. So yeah, it's a really good lake, so I'm looking forward to getting back on there. So off the top of my head, I've probably fished eagle about, I'd say 5 or 6 times, and I think I've maybe only blanked twice maybe, but other times I remember 2 sessions in particular during the pandemic. I think they were in the summer. I'd done 2 separate 48 hours a week apart, and I had 3 fish in each session, and it was really good. I remember my second session, I had 3 within the first 24 hours, and I thought I was going to go on and catch a load, but I didn't get any more. But that's fishing for you. You never know what's gonna come out, if anything. But none of the lakes are like runs waters, so you're not guaranteed to catch. There's plenty of people come here and fish eagle or whatever lake and they don't catch. That's just fishing, you know. You're never guaranteed to catch in fishing, but one thing you are sure of if you come here is it's very secure. It's a gated entry code which you get texted and emailed on the day that you're going to be arriving. All very secure. You've got to pay extra if you're going to have a guest with you. All sensible rules. I think the only rule that I noticed that had changed since I was here all them years ago was zigs aren't allowed now, but I understand that because they're banned on a lot of venues. And these lakes are quite shallow, and I don't really think you're going to benefit much by having a 1 foot or a 2 foot zig out in the pond. But yeah, very well run. There's a shop on site, so you can pre-order bait. They sell DNA bait here, and he sells all the essentials, batteries, gas for your stoves, all that business. It's a very well run fishery. There's a toilet block, there's a shower block, all nets and weigh slings, unhooking mats are all provided for biosecurity. And yeah, it's pretty good, and it's on our doorstep if you're local from Teesside especially. So yeah, all good. It's quite windy now, so I hope that it's not too affected, the microphone. But an update on the bait boat, I'm really impressed with it. It's been getting the rigs out, no bother, even though there's quite a ripple on the water now with the wind. It's very quiet, so a very stealthy boat. It's just what I was wanting out of a bait boat myself. There's something else I was going to mention. I noticed when I rechecked the rules for this place, drones aren't allowed, which is totally understandable because the amount of aircraft you have around here. I think you've got an airfield, and I think it might be even Tees Valley Airport or Teesside Airport, whatever it's called. I think that's not far from here, so you wouldn't be allowed drones anyway due to all the airspace. But it got me thinking, I'm going to have a little rant. Surprise, surprise, I've not ranted for a while. Obviously I have a drone which I use purely just to get some YouTube footage. I don't use it to try and find fish, never have done. And generally when I've got that drone in the air, I'm not even looking for fish, I'm just purely getting an overview of the venue. And basically there's another YouTube channel, and I've came across it a couple of times, and they've been using my drone footage, which I think is pretty cheeky. And I wasn't going to mention who they are, but I thought, well, there's probably only a handful of people who are going to watch this video, so it doesn't really matter. But the YouTube channel is called something like Team Brook Fishing, and he's got a hell of a lot more subscribers than me. I think he's getting on for 1,000 or something like that. And yeah, I noticed he's been using my drone footage without even asking me, and I think it's just proper cheeky. You know, I'm going through the effort of, first of all, I'm wasting, well, not wasting, but I'm spending at least an hour of my time putting the drone up when I arrive at the venue, because that's when I normally do put it up, when I first get there. The drone was about £600 in itself, and then it's the editing time. and this guy, Team Brook, he's been just taking it off my video. He's not even been removing any music, so it's got my music on. It's just proper cheeky. And yeah, I first noticed it, he pinched all my Norton Disney footage, and then it just popped up in my feeds. He'd been to Wold Mill recently on Oak Lake, which is where I went with my mate last year, and yeah, he's pinched all that as well, and there's just no mention of my channel or nothing, and I just think it's proper cheeky. The least you can do is ask, and the chances are I'd say yeah, not a problem, but maybe mention my channel, you know, on the screen at the time. You know, it's just a bit of etiquette, isn't it? You know, these drones aren't cheap. So yeah, there's my little rant. I just think it's cheeky. I would have probably allowed him to use it, but at least ask first and just mention the channel. You know, although this channel is only a hobby for myself, and it's never going to be making any money, and I don't have any plans for it to. It's just a little hobby for me, and it's good to look back on videos because I'm quite sad like that. Yeah, I just think it's cheeky, and I think it's bad manners. But if you think I'm over exaggerating, let me know in the comments. But yeah, I was just shocked to see my work on someone else's channel just with no mention. So yeah, thought I'd get that off my chest. Feel better for that now. I'll leave you to it because we've got fighter jets going over now. Bye for now. So an evening update from the bivvy. Unfortunately today's been really hard going. Weather wise, I've had the wind and I've had heavy rain, so I've had a lot thrown at me. Fishing's just really hard going today. I've not seen anything. I've tried fishing close in throughout the majority of today with just single hook baits, nothing else around it. Fishing in these areas where I thought I was getting liners, you know, last night and this morning, and just nothing's happened. So yeah, fishing's a funny old game. You think you've got it sussed and it just doesn't go to plan sometimes. So it's now about 6 o'clock at night, so I've just decided to bring all 3 rods in. I've refreshed the hook baits and I've got them all back out, but I've put them over the far margin, which is on the back of the wind. And yeah, that's just, it's just a last chance. You know, I've put a handful of boilies around each one, put them in 3 separate areas all along that back margin, and what'll be will be. They'll be staying there unless I get a fish, and that'll be it for the night. I'll if I don't really update you, then unfortunately it's been an unsuccessful fishing trip. But on the positive side, it's been great to get out on the bank. It's been a long time coming. It's been really good for me to practice using the bait boat, especially having the lake to myself. And yeah, it's been quite trying with the bait boat, with it being windy today, but the boat's, you know, done everything I've asked for it, so couldn't ask for any more. So yeah, I'll sign off for now unless I get something during the night or early in the morning. But thanks for watching, and hopefully next time I'll try to get a fish on the bank. Cheers.